Is God evil? This is a pretty straightforward question. Christians, Jews, and Muslims will argue that God is not evil. However, in a passage from Isaiah 45:7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. This passage reminds me of the story of Job. Job was a man of God, a servant with the utmost love and devotion of probably anyone else in the Bible. For some reason, Satan, God's most trusted angel, strikes a deal with God. Let me test him. Let me show you he will abandon you. God decides, for some reason, to have a competition with Satan. Satan, in turn, is allowed by God to cause misery, pain, suffering, and anything else he can think of to convince Job that God has indeed abandoned him. And thus, Job will essentially abandon God. Nevertheless, this plays out like anyone would expect. Job not only loses his family, crops, material things, but by the end of it, all Job keeps is his faith. Satan, in turn, accepts his defeat, and God explains, see, Job still loves me. This story is most likely a metaphor for most people today. Aside from fundamentals of these three branches, people see this as a test from God and usually use this story as the reasons bad things happen to them. They, however, fail to see the obvious. Yahweh is said to know the future and therefore knew the outcome. Satan also knows that God knows the future. So the bigger question is, and this was brought up in the South Park episode Cartman Land, where Kyle is told about the story of Job by his parents while in the hospital, why would God do such horrible things to a good person just to prove a point to Satan? So the question is God evil? Yes. According to multiple stories from the Bible, not only is God evil, but he has the characteristics of a child. It is almost as if God is bored and insecure. What secure deity would ever need to prove anything to a lesser being? This is a problem we see over and over with multiple stories found in the Bible. God can do anything, but he always seems to choose the most violent and evil way to handle a situation. When the tribes of Judah marched on Jericho, Joshua, their leader, told every soldier to kill everyone and everything inside the walls, except for a prostitute. They would all be made as sacrifices to Elohim. Before they even marched on Jericho, God would speak directly to Joshua about what he was to do, and somehow failed to mention, Joshua, when your forces take the city, only kill the enemy and spare the innocent. But that was not the case. Why? Because the people of Jericho, all of them, worshipped Baal. Baal is from the same pantheon as Elohim. Elohim commands his brothers, people, to die, because not only is he jealous, hateful, and egotistical, but he is the very definition of evil.